One of the biggest reasons not to buy a book of business is just to add a block of assets under management to your book. The reality is when you're looking at it strictly from assets under management, there's a bunch of other factors, and we'll talk about all the factors of the book. But one of the biggest factors that you have to look at is how many households, how much service, how much additional onboarding and time is it going to take on that big block of assets under management.
What happens is often advisors approach us and they say, hey, look, like this sounds like a great idea. And I find that often it's because the mental state is that we're still thinking about acquiring assets, right? Which is on the retail side is done on the individual basis. So I brought in this account, it was $1 million. I brought in this account, it was 500,000. I brought in this account, it was 5 million. Oh, cool. I've got this opportunity to bring in this account that's 50 million in assets. That sounds so awesome. I'll just get it all done in one fell swoop. It's not the assets in this case. If you're buying a book, that 50 million is not a single individual, which would be nice, but it's a whole lot of households. Typically, you're looking at between 100 to 125 households on average for that size of a book. And so now you have to onboard and go through all the process with 125 households as quickly as you can. So just wanted you to think about that first.
You really have about a 6-month window in which you want to introduce yourself to, onboard, and integrate all of these new households into your existing practice. If you're buying a book of business and it's going to take you 2 to 3 years to integrate that wholly, by the time you get around to reallocating assets for some of those accounts, when you get around to actually sitting down with them face to face, they don't really care anymore. They've kind of moved on. They've kind of felt like the person left in the dark sort of thing. And so you really have this narrow window of time in which you have to establish that credibility.